Hello guys, welcome to Sync in English. I'm your Vamsy Krishna, and we are seeing the series UGC Net Psychology series. So last class we discussed about sense organs, few sense organs, and today we'll let us see olfaction and taste as a senses and their anatomy and etc. parts and their uses, etc. So let's get started. So here we can see these are taste buds located in oral cavity, tongue. So especially when we talk about gustatory system, it creates, we call it as gustatory system. Which creates a human sense of taste. So allowing us to perceive different flavors from substances that we consume as a food or as a drink. So this gustatory system plays that role. And there are specialized cells in gustatory system that are located on the tongue. So if you consider this as a tongue, it will be located as called taste buds, located in the tongue. So if you see the cross section of mouth oral cavity, you find all these aspects. So we have palate, we have tongue, pharynx, and esophagus would contain these sensory receptors also. Receptors which actually helps in the perception of different flavors. Now there are specialized cells called intestines located in the taste buds, so which actually recognize the taste molecules. Now there are five main tastes are there present. So one is bitter, sour, salty, sweet, and other one is savory. There are four basic tastes, and newly added one is savory. So those taste receptors are present in these parts: palate, tongue, and pharynx, and then esophagus. So the tongue is a main sensory organ of the gustatory system. So as I told that you should be remembering, these anatomical aspects as cells, forms tissues, forms organs form organ system, and organ system form organism. So we are talking about tissues, cells, and organs which form this gustatory system. So that's what the tongue is, a main organ of the gustatory system. So the sense of taste is actually transduced by taste buds. So these are taste buds, which are clusters of 50 to 100 taste receptor cells located in the different parts that I have shown, like tongue, soft palate, epiglottis, pharynx, and esophagus. So each taste bud is like a flask shaped, and is formed by two types of cells, supporting cells and gustatory cells. So you can see this is flask shape or mushroom shaped taste buds. And coming to the tastes, we have bitter, which actually serves as a purpose to sense the taste of bitterness. So these are several classes of bitter compounds which vary in chemical makeup. And coming to salty, so they recognize NaCl, which are simplest of receptors found in the entire mouth. Simplest receptors. And the third one is sweet. Like bitter taste, sweet transaction involves G protein coupled receptors. So in biology, there would be, when we talk about, receptors, etc., there are different types of receptors. So here, G protein coupled receptors are responsible for the, recognition of this sweet flavor. So you can just remember this as GPCR. GPCRs, G protein coupled receptors, which helps in receiving the taste, nothing but sweet. And then sour. So sour taste signals presence of acidic environment, acidic compounds in the substances that we eat or drink. So these are different receptor proteins work together to actually sense the sour taste. So if you see that these are the different taste receptors, and you can see here clearly the diagram of taste bud where it contains connective tissue, and there are afferent nerve fibers which giving the signals to the brain, sensory, and you have taste pore, the top, and afferent nerve at the bottom. You have taste receptor cells. So this is epithelium. Epithelium means layer which covers the outermost of the organ. So this is oral cavity. So if you see the tongue, so this is the oral cavity, which contains the palate, tongue, pharynx, epiglottis. These contains the receptor cells, which actually helps in perceiving the smell, taste. So these are the important tastes that you can get in the sensation of the taste. So next one is olfaction. Olfactory lobes or olfaction, you can see we call it as olfactory system when we talk about it helps in smelling senses, which actually helps in smell to perceive the smells. So this olfactory system contains different parts which gives human their sense of smell. Sense of smell by what? Inhaling and detecting odorants in the environment. So we smell by actually inhaling the odorants. So the odorants or odorants or the molecules which we actually detect by olfaction. So olfaction is physiologically related to gustation, the sense of taste, because of its uses of chemoreceptors. So here also we use chemoreceptors, receptors which actually receive or which actually detect the chemicals. They are called chemoreceptors. So perceiving complex flavors requires recognizing taste and smell sensations at the same time. So an interaction known as chemoreceptive sensory interactions allows us to perceive the smells. So the major organs which are concerned about the smell, olfaction is nothing but the nose and nasal cavity. So you can see the diagram here, clear diagram, anatomy. Yeah. So this olfactory sensitivity is directly proportional to the spatial area in the nose. So especially the olfactory epithelium. So there would be olfactory epithelium. So which is where actually these odorant reception occurs. So the odorant reception occurs at the epitheliums, right? So the area in the nasal cavity near the septum is reserved for the olfactory mucous membranes. So in the nasal cavity, this mucus will be there, which actually perceive the olfaction. So there would be almost 10 million olfactory cells, which actually can smell around 350 different type of receptors will be present in these olfactory regions. So how exactly this interpretation of smells takes place? So interpretation of smells takes place, by odor molecules descendant in various parts of the olfactory system in the brain. And these all combine to form a representation of odor. So these all olfactory molecules which actually received by the brain would combine to form a representation of certain odor, smell. So human can actually differentiate between 10,000 different odors. So this is our capability. So even people are trained to smell, or perfume experts or wine experts. They can be trained to sense of the smell by detecting subtle odors, by practicing retrieving the smells from the memory. So here the smells trigger certain associated with the memory as well. So we can actually remember the smells. So when it comes to smell and memory, right, this odor information is easily stored in the long-term memory. Long-term memory. And has strong connection to the emotional memory. So this odor, smell and memory are interconnected here, the emotional memory especially. So this is a most likely due to the olfactory system present close anatomical ties to the limbic system. So olfactory and the limbic system, they are all closely associated in the limbic system, and olfactory lobes are quite proximity is high, so that they have this sort of emotional trigger to the smells that we perceive. So coming to key takeaways or key points that we need to see in these systems, or nothing but this somatosensory system allows the human body to experience this pressure, texture, temperature, pain, etc. But here we are talking about olfaction. So olfaction is a type of chemoreception. Like gustation, this sensory system uses the molecular chemical compounds. So if you see in the main sensory organ responsible for the human sense of smell is nasal cavity, so which contains olfactory receptors. So in human beings can detect a large number of variety or diverse smells due to vast number of features and combination of odor molecules. So these are the different important points here when we talk about olfaction. And olfaction is a sense most closely tied to the memory because of its close association, as we have seen. So odorants are nothing but any substances that has a distinctive smell, especially one added to another substance. So these are the aspects of olfaction. So if you see an image of olfaction, it will be more clear. So how this olfactory lobes present here. So you can see clearly here. So there is epithelial nerve endings are there. These nerve endings are going to the olfactory lobes or olfactory regions present in the brain. So when the smell or odor molecules are received by the receptors, so they will be conducting these nerve impulse, and then it even access the emotional memories, where because these olfactory lobes are closely associated with the limbic system. So you can see here the limbic system here. So this is about olfaction and the main sensory organs that are covered in the syllabus. So if you like this video, please do share, and please try to see from beginning. And there are different parts of biological basis of behavior. So why these sense organs are also added in this behavior? Because we perceive the environmental or physical environment cues are perceived by these sense organs. And if you see here, even this olfactory system has got close association with the memory, emotional memory, which would be accessed during we smell. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.